Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are back with another tier list, and in today's tier list, yes, you heard the title of the video correctly, I'm going to be ranking every single Barcelona game this season. Why? I truly don't know, but we're going to do it today. We're going to split this up into two parts. However, today we're doing part one because Barca, if you're not aware, they've played 36 games in all comps. UCL, La Liga, Super Cup, and Copa del Rey. They've played 36 games in total. And obviously, I can't do 36 games all at once because that'd be way too long. So we're going to split the video into 18. Obviously, first part is 18. The second part will be another 18. And yeah, man, this video should be pretty interesting. As you guys know, I've been very critical of Barca this season. And I've watched every Barca game this year. I've done a post-match review either on my TikTok or my YouTube for every single one of these games. And today we're going to rank them all from one of three tiers: amazing, meh, and bad. I'm not sure if I'm excited for this video, honestly, because like I said, Barca have been pretty embarrassing this year in terms of performances. So going back and, remembering some of these games is just not going to be a fun experience for me. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys are excited for the part two coming out later this week, let me know in the comment section. And yeah, man, the criteria for this video is going to be pretty simple. We're going to look at the performance, how Barca played, how dominant were they, what was the scoreline, and just how the game went, obviously. And yeah, man, let's get into this. First up is the match against Getafe that finished 0-0, the first game of the La Liga season away from home. And this one, to me, is going to go into bad. This game was a perfect foreshadowing for what was to come for Barca for the rest of the year. We as Barca fans should have watched this game, and the flashing red lights should have gone in our head. Like, the warning signs were everywhere, bro, and we just couldn't see them. We were so naive back then. Oh my God, I miss these days when we were so naive about this team. When I made my post-match review of this game back on TikTok before I made it over to YouTube, I said in that game, Barca fans, don't panic. We drew the first game of the season last year against Rayo Vallecano 0-0, and we ended up winning the league in convincing fashion. Today we're playing Getafe away from home, first game of the year. It's a tough fixture to play. The players are rusty, but Xavi and the players are going to get it right. Don't worry. And boy, were we wrong. I should have fucking clown paint on my face right now. I look like a clown now saying that. That was the perfect foreshadowing. Now, first of all, quick note about this game, or second of all, actually, quick note about this game, or is it third of all? I don't know. I've talked a lot already, but I just want to say this. The refereeing in this game was absolutely putrid. It was some of the worst refereeing I've ever seen in my entire life. Barca had like 2 penalties that were not called. Barca players were constantly getting fouled off the ball, and it was not getting called. Hard fouls at that. I think Lewandowski got body slammed in this game, I'm pretty sure, and it wasn't called. Rafinha got a red card for slapping a Getafe player, which, that's warranted. Xavi got a red card on the touchline because, Xavi acts like a toddler a lot of times out there. But I still think that red card was, it was undeserved in my opinion. I admit that Xavi can be really annoying on the touchline, but I don't think he deserved a red card in that game. But in terms of football, I mean, the refereeing aside, in terms of football and how Barca played, it just wasn't a good, it wasn't a good match. We couldn't break this team down. It was just not good. It was not pretty to watch whatsoever. And all of our players were healthy, by the way. This is the first game of the year. All of our players were there. And we couldn't break this team down. Xavi kept playing that 4-man midfield, which he loves so much for some reason. I don't know why. And we just couldn't do anything against this team. The final 20 minutes were so painful to watch. I mean, Barca just couldn't do anything, bro. It was really, really bad. It was really, really ugly to watch. If you remember watching this game, which I do, it just wasn't a good game from Barca. Again, refereeing aside, because the refereeing was terrible, and we deserved to win that game because we should have had penalties in that game, like two penalties in that game at least. But again, in terms of football and how Barca played, refereeing aside, it just wasn't great in my opinion. Next up is the match against Cadiz that ended 2-0 at home, and this one to me is going to go into meh. And the only reason why I'm putting this game in meh, because I could very easily put it in bad next to the Getafe game. If you watch this game, you know I could very easily put it in bad. But I'm putting it in meh because two things. Barca kept a clean sheet, and they won the game by over 1 goal, which is not very common for Barca this season. That's honestly, that's a miracle. The fact that Barca kept a clean sheet and won the game by over 1 goal is honestly a miracle. In this game, Barca took 83 minutes to score their first goal. It took us 83 minutes to break down Cadiz at home. And if you remember that goal, it was individual brilliance from Pedri and Gundogan, a great pass from Gundogan in that final third, like in the edge of the box. It was just a beautiful goal. And then Ferran Torres came off the bench and scored a beautiful goal as well from a pass from Lewandowski. Ferran just came off the bench and just did his thing. The Shark, that's when the Shark started. I mean, this guy, he was so good on that day. I remember Ferran being really, really good coming off the bench. But in terms of football, again, Barca just struggled to break this team down. I get, like, these lower table sides, again, especially playing away from home, they're going to sit in that low block. They're going to play that very condensed football, and they're going to try and get you on the counterattack. It's very hard to break them down. But still, when you have that much more quality than this team, and especially, again, all of our players were healthy up until that point. Rafinha was obviously suspended, but we still had good enough depth on at that point in the season, and we couldn't break this team down. To me, obviously, that's not good enough. And again, this game was foreshadowing for what was to come. Barca continuously played down to the competition, and this game was no different. Again, the scoreline is deceiving. The scoreline in this match is deceiving. Barca were not better than Cadiz by more than 2 goals, by more than 1 goal. Again, the scoreline says they were, but if you watch this game, you know I'm not being hyperbolic. Your Barca were not good whatsoever. So for me, I'm going to put it in meh. Next up is the match against Osasuna away from home that finished 2-1, and this one to me is going to go into bad. Barca were so bad on this day, bro. So poor. From open play, Barca were putrid, bro. It was so hard to watch Barca play on that day. They scored 2 goals, and neither were from open play. A Jules Koundé header from a corner, I'm pretty sure, and Lewandowski scored a penalty in the final minute to save us, to bring us to save the 3 points. But Osasuna were the better team. And remember, guys, in this game, Osasuna, don't forget, they were playing their B team because they had played their starters in the Europa League, in the Conference League qualifying midweek. So they were like, their starters were sitting in this game. They were playing their B team. And Ezequiel Avila scored a beautiful goal. I remember that goal that he scored from outside of the box, just a beautiful curler. But Osasuna, to me, were the better team. Were the better team in this game. We had Joao Felix and Joao Cancelo come off the bench their first time wearing a Barca kit, but they obviously didn't make much of an impact because they were still getting acclimated to the team. But this game, to me, was just not good whatsoever. I mean, Osasuna outplayed us throughout both, like, especially in that second half, they were the better team than us. Barca, again, we could not create anything in the final third. It was so bad. It was so discombobulated, that attack and that midfield. It just looked like they had never played football together, which is obviously a common theme for Barca throughout this whole year. The final third creation, just like the cohesiveness between the team is just not there. And this game was a perfect example of that. So for me, it's going to go into bad. Just not a good performance for Barca whatsoever. Next up is the match against Villarreal away from home that finished 4-3. By the way, has there been a better fixture this year than Barca Villarreal? One game 4-3, the other game 5-3. I mean, these teams just go at it. It's like a slugfest every single time they play. But anyway, this one to me is going to go into meh. This game was so frustrating to watch, man. If you remember watching this game, remember Barca in this game were up 2-0 early on. Away from home at Villarreal, a very tough place to play. I mean, teams struggle against Villarreal away from home. And we were up 2-0 in that game. We're just outplaying them for the first like 10-15 minutes. And then Villarreal scored 3 unanswered goals. And what I remember most about this game is how bad our fullbacks were. Sergio Roberto and Marcos Alonso were fucking dog shit, bro. Marcos Alonso, that murderer, was terrible. And Sergio Roberto was getting carved up every single time. He had Villarreal's wingers looking like fucking Rafael Leao out there, or looking like Prime Ronaldo, or looking like Gareth Bale. Every player that went at Sergio Roberto was like a turnstile. They would just get past him every single time. That's when I knew, that's when we Barca fans knew Sergio was washed. I remember going on Twitter on that day and searching up Sergio's name, and everybody was flaming that guy. He was so bad. But then Barca actually showed the fortitude to come back. You know, they scored 2 goals in the second half. Lewandowski scored a goal, and Ferran Torres came off the bench again and scored a goal as well. So did Ferran Torres come off the bench? I think he did come off the bench. Yes, he did come off the bench and scored a goal in that game. Lewandowski scored a nice tap, and Lamine Yamal also played really well in that game. I remember that very vividly. That's when the whole Lamine Yamal thing started, where we started to see the flashes of this kid and how good he could really be. But yeah, this one to me is going to go into meh. Again, 4 goals is great, but conceding 3, again, typical for Barca this year. First 3 games we only conceded 1 goal. This game we conceded 3. But I mean, scoring 4 goals and coming back against Villarreal away from home, I'm gonna put it in meh. I can't put it in bad. It just wasn't a bad game in my opinion, but it wasn't amazing either. It's just perfectly meh. Next up is the match against Betis at home that finished 5-0. And oh man, take me back to these days. Oh Lord, please take me back. If I had a fucking time machine, I'd go back to this day. It's gonna go in amazing, bro. I'm speechless right now. I'm speechless, bro. To me, the best game that Barca played all year. 5-0. The first time under Xavi scoring over 4 goals, I was in heaven then, bro. I was so happy. Every other performance before that, I was just like, it doesn't matter, because this game, remember, it was the first full game with Joao Cancelo and Joao Felix. The first full game with both of those guys. And I was just in heaven, bro. I was in heaven. Joao Cancelo looked like prime Dani Alves. Joao Felix was playing like fucking Luis Figo. Xavi was coaching. I mean, that was the perfect Xavi Neta. The Xavi wall was on full display on that day. Ferran Torres scoring a free kick. Joao Felix scoring on his debut. Joao Cancelo scoring on his debut. The 2 Joaos scoring on their debut. Kissing the badge, hitting the badge. Joao Cancelo's goal, cutting in and out. Rafinha scoring a beautiful goal from outside of the box. Lewandowski scoring a goal as well. Oh man, these were simpler times. Simpler times and better times. I miss these days, man. 5-0 at home. It's gonna go in amazing 100%. Oh my god, this game was just this is like honestly, it's a game that I'll watch. I still watch to this day. I remember I rewatched this game like 2 days ago because it brings me back to happier times. When this Barca team, we saw in this game, and the next game after this one, which we're going to talk about right now, how good this Barca team could really be, and then it just, oh man, I miss it. Next up is the game against Antwerp, the first UCL game that finished 5-0 as well. Back-to-back games winning 5-0, 10-0 on aggregate in back-to-back games. Oh my god, a clean sheet and 5 goals. Oh, that's crazy. We can only dream of that now as Barca fans. We can only dream of beating a team 5-0. It's crazy, bro, but this game was spectacular as well. The first game of the UCL. When I saw these 2 games back-to-back, I was like, Xavi is the second coming of Pep Guardiola. Joao Cancelo is going to be the future fullback for Barcelona, the future starting left-back or right-back. And Joao Felix, we're signing him permanently from Atletico Madrid. And Lewandowski is not washed. And, you know, this team is going to win the UCL. This is going to be 08-09 Barca again. 23-24 Barca and 08-09 Barca are the same team. There's no differences. That's how optimistic I was after watching both of these games. Oh man, in this game, Gavi scored a goal. Joao Felix scored a beautiful goal as well. Did Joao Felix score a brace? I think Joao Felix scored a brace actually. Yeah, he scored a brace. Lewandowski scored a goal as well. I mean, everything was just so perfect about this team, man. I mean, the final third creation was beautiful. The fluidity between the midfield and the attack was there. The defense was playing so well. The defense was playing so well, man. I miss how well the defense played on those two games. Yeah, man. I miss these days. It's going to go into amazing for sure. I mean, how could I put it any lower than that? Next up is the match against Celta Vigo at home that finished 3-2. And this one to me is going to go into man because Barca on this day, we're down 2-0 to Celta Vigo at home. That's unacceptable in my opinion. But the final 50 minutes of this game were just a total masterclass. Barca, every time they had the ball, every time they had possession, they were just putting on the pressure on Celta Vigo. And Joao Cancelo had a 10 out of 10 game. And Lewandowski was amazing on this day as well. He scored a brace. Joao Felix was great as well. But Joao Cancelo is the guy that I remember. Joao Cancelo had one assist and a goal. And that goal that he scored, that pass from Gavi where he's running into the box. And Joao Cancelo was crashing the box. And Gavi plays a perfect ball to him. The pass that he played to Lewandowski as well, Joao Cancelo did. I mean, he was just everywhere on the pitch. When I watched Joao Cancelo there, I was like, send Man City the check right now. Send Man City the check today. Send it today. We'll find the money. We'll think about the money some other day. But send the check today. I promise you it won't bounce. Because he was that good. Bro, again, I can't put it in mad because, 2-0 to Celta Vigo at home is unacceptable in my opinion, especially because we see how bad Celta Vigo is now. And, they were just not much better back then either. But again, coming back in that game, showing that fortitude is very impressive. Unlike the Villarreal game, in this game, we were the ones that came back on them. Now, in that game, they came back on us, we came back on them. So it's like, it's obviously, it's all forgiven. But this game was a little bit cleaner in my opinion. Only one comeback. And, after we conceded the first two goals, we didn't concede again, which is obviously very rare for Barca nowadays. But this came to me again, conceding 2-0, being down 2-0 at home against Celta Vigo, it's unacceptable. But coming back is obviously great. So there was a touch of amazing, a touch of bad. It's going to land perfectly in May. Next up is a game against Mallorca that finished 2-2 away from home. And this one to me is going to go into bad. Barca on this day, we're down 2-0 to Mallorca. That again is unacceptable. And unlike Celta Vigo, we didn't come back in this game. And the performance was not nearly as good as Celta Vigo. The football was not nearly as good in this game. Rafinha scored a goal and Fermin Lopez scored a goal. But Mallorca, honestly, to me, was the better team in this game. They were just a better team in this game, in my opinion. And Barca did not play well whatsoever. I don't remember many things about this game because I think it was kind of a boring game. I do remember that Lamine Yamal maybe had a penalty disallowed. I'm pretty sure I think Lamine Yamal got a penalty called and then they disallowed it, if I'm not mistaken. But other than that, I can't remember many things about this game. I do remember, however, that I think Mallorca was the better team and Barca struggled to break them down like we usually do. And Ter Stegen was actually awful in this game. One of the goals was actually his mistake, I remember. Yeah, Ter Stegen made a mistake in that game. He was awful in that game. But yeah, to me, it's going to go into bad. Just like drawing against Mallorca, at home, away from home, in the moon, and Jupiter, it does not matter. It's unacceptable. So it's going to go into bad. Next up is the match against Sevilla, which to me is going to go into mad because Barca only won this game by 1 goal. But if you remember watching this game, this scoreline is very deceiving. Barca could have very easily won this game by over 2 goals or 3 goals. They were the much better team than Sevilla. The only goal scored in this game was an own goal from Sergio Ramos from a corner, I'm pretty sure. But Barca just hit the post constantly. We're creating chances constantly. I remember watching this game because I did a watch along to this game. So I remember that Barca was just a much better team. And the scoreline is very deceiving. Barca deserved so much more in this game. They were the much better team. Now, we ended up getting the win, which is great. But Barca just deserved to win by 3 or 4 goals, honestly. So go back. If you think I'm lying, go back and watch this game. I promise you Barca were that good. But they just couldn't finish their dinner. But yeah, to me, it just wasn't good enough. Like, it wasn't as good as Antwerp and Betis to put it in amazing. But it wasn't also bad. I mean, it's a mad game because, again, Barca couldn't finish their chances, but they were the much better team throughout the 90 minutes, in my opinion. Next up is the game against Porto in the UCL that, to me, is going to go into bad. Barca were utterly terrible in this game. Just so bad. The only goal that we scored was a Ferran Torres goal in the 45th minute from a pass from Gundogan. But Porto were the better team throughout this game. This is the game that actually Lewandowski got hurt. He got hurt in like the 30th minute and he had to leave the game. But, I mean, Porto were just better in my opinion. Porto, like both games that they played in the UCL against us, they were actually the better team in my opinion. And in this game, they were better than us. I remember that they were better than us. We were not good this game whatsoever. Defensively, we had so many lapses. Porto just missed chances. But they had so many opportunities to score against us. And we were just poor to me. Again, I'm not just looking at the scoreline, guys. I'm looking at the way that the team played. And for that reason, I can't put this game above bad. This game was really bad in my opinion. It just wasn't pretty to watch whatsoever. Defensively, we looked bad. And it just wasn't great in my opinion. So I'm going to put it in bad again. Porto, if you go back and watch this game, they were the much better team. And honestly, you could argue they should have won. Next up is the match against Granada that finished 2-2 away from home. And this one to me is going to go into bad. If you guys remember this game, it was the Brian Zaragoza game. He scored a goal in the first minute and then scored a goal in like the 20-something minute. We were down 2-0 in this game at one point. And we scored 2 goals in the second half to come back. But we were down 2-0 to fucking Granada, bro. Brian Zaragoza, he looked like prime R9 on that day. Like prime R9. We needed to go from Sergio Roberto in like the 85th minute to tie this game up. But Granada were just a better team, bro. They were the better team twice this year. They've outplayed us, by the way. Granada has. I can't pronounce it right. Granada has outplayed us twice this year. And in this game, it was similar to the game against Porto and against Mallorca, just falling down 2-0 early to these teams that we should not be falling down to, and then having to come back, fighting this uphill battle, conceding in the first. Actually, it wasn't. I'm being nice here. It wasn't even in the first minute we conceded. We conceded in the first 20 seconds of that game. Unacceptable, bro. It's going to go into bad for me. Just not an acceptable performance, in my opinion, from Barcelona. It was obviously, like, we've seen this too many times this year. I mean, this was not obviously an outlier. We've seen Barca concede early throughout, like, this whole season. We've seen them go down and have to fight an uphill battle throughout this whole season and need these last-minute goals to come back and win games or tie games and save the points. But this game specifically just wasn't great. Next up is the match against Athletic Club, which finished 1-0 at home. The Marc Guiu game. This game is going to go into bad. Again, Barca were not good this whole game. We needed a 17-year-old to come off the bench from Barca B and score a goal for us in the final minute. That's what we needed. Because we could not create anything throughout this whole game. Now, granted, Athletic Bilbao is a tough team to play because obviously we know they knocked us out on the Copa del Rey this year. But still, man, at home, you need a kid from Barca B to come in and save the day. Again, you guys might think I'm being harsh with these games. I did a match review after all these games. You guys can go check out my TikTok or my YouTube. I literally talked about every single one of these games. I'm not looking at hindsight right now. In the moment, I thought this game was terrible. We won this game because we needed a 17-year-old from Barca B to come off the bench and save the day. It wasn't a good performance to me whatsoever. You might disagree, but this game was not good. And it was a theme for Barca, and we could not create anything, bro. We just couldn't create shit throughout this whole game. The final third creation was lacking. Our midfield looked discombobulated. Our attack looked terrible. And this team did not play well whatsoever. So for that reason, I'm going to put it into bad. Just not a good performance whatsoever. But I'm happy for Marc Guiu because after this game, I'm pretty sure he gained like 600,000 Instagram followers. And he became like a household name, which, you know, is obviously great for him. But for us as a team and the way that we played, it just wasn't pretty whatsoever. Next up is the match against Shakhtar Donetsk in the UCL, the home game. And this one to me is going to go into mad because Barca, on this day, the first half, they played really, really well. I remember Fermin Lopez hit the post, I think, at least 15 times. He was just everywhere on the pitch. He played so well on this day. Ferran Torres scored a goal as well. We were up 2-0 in this game. But then in the second half, we played terribly. And actually, Shakhtar Donetsk was a better team than us. They scored a goal in the second half, and they were the better team than us. They're just outplaying us every single time. And in those final 15 minutes, we suffered a lot, bro. They were putting on the pressure on us. And, you know, it foreshadowed to what happened a couple months later, a couple weeks after that, where they actually beat us, which we can see right here. We're going to talk about a little bit later. But Shakhtar Donetsk just outplayed us in that second half. And they're just a better team, in my opinion, throughout that second half. Now, in the first half, we were better. In the second half, they were much better. We were much better in the first half. They were much better in the second half. So to me, that balances out to put it in meh. But Barca, I mean, it's a common theme again. We can't sustain long periods. We can't be great for long periods. Either we're good the first half, or bad the second half, or we're bad the first half and good the second half. It just the inconsistency in this team has been going on forever now. But yeah, this game to me again, winning 2-1 against Shakhtar Donetsk. It's going to go into meh, in my opinion. Next up is a game against Real Madrid at home at Montjuic that we lost 2-1, a game that still haunts me to this day. And this game to me is going to go into bad because it was against our biggest rivals. Now, similar to Shakhtar Donetsk, in this game, we actually were the much better team in the first half, in my opinion. Gundogan scored a goal early on in that game. But then in the second half, especially like post the 55th minute when Jude Bellingham scored that first goal, we completely let up. And Real Madrid just put the pressure on us, and tactically, Ancelotti outdid Xavi in every single facet. He clowned Xavi like in that second half of that game, and Real Madrid just looked like the much more dominant team throughout that second half. And then obviously Jude Bellingham ended up scoring the winner. But Real Madrid throughout that whole second half was just much better, and we only have ourselves to blame for this game. We could have gone out and been proactive and been aggressive and gotten that second goal in the second half. But Xavi decided to be just more cautious and sit back and let them come on to us and let them put on the pressure on us. And, you know, that happens. And then when you have the talent like Real Madrid, when you have players like Jude Bellingham, you have Luka Modric coming off the bench, you have all these talented players, you can't have that happen. And hence, that's why we lost the game. So for me, again, this loss still haunts me to this day. It was just so embarrassing, man. That second half was so poor from us. When we had all the momentum in the first half. We should have scored 2 goals in that first half, and we couldn't convert. And the second half, they just ended up beating us because they ended up being the better team in that second half, and they deserved it. So for me, it's going to go into bad. Again, similar to Shakhtar Donetsk, good first half, bad second half. But unlike Shakhtar Donetsk, this is against our biggest rivals, which hurts even more. So to me, it's going to go into bad. Next up is the match against Real Sociedad away from home that finished 1-0. And this one to me is going to go into bad. Barca were so poor on this day, man. They were so bad. We had no business winning this game. If you guys remember, we won this game on like the 93rd minute from an Araujo header. But this whole game, we were so poor. Alguacil outdid Xavi. Like, he was so much better tactically than Xavi. And Real Sociedad honestly should have won this game by 2 or 3 goals. They were that much better than us. How we came away with a victory in this game, I'll really never know, because they were much better than us. But we ended up coming through because Barca this year, you know, we're somehow the comeback kings. Like, we just play bad, and then all of a sudden we just score a goal. I mean, Barca's like a toxic relationship. You never know what's coming next. They're so unpredictable this year. Like this whole season, they've been so unpredictable. They either play shit for the whole game and then come back and win, or they play great for like the majority of the game and then allow a team to come back and just make it a heart attack game. That's just Barca for you this year, like a toxic relationship, like I said. But this game specifically, I mean, we needed that last minute goal from Araujo, and I'm happy we got the points. But this game, Real Sociedad was just much better than us, in my opinion. Next up is the match against Shakhtar Donetsk, the away leg, and this one to me is going to go into bad. This game was fucking unacceptable, bro. How we lost to Shakhtar Donetsk. Remember, guys, Shakhtar Donetsk, they're based in Ukraine. They play in the Ukrainian league. A country that has been ravaged by a war over the past 2 years. They don't even get their own... They don't even play home games in their own country, bro. They have to play in fucking Germany. And they beat us. They beat us in the UCL. Shakhtar Donetsk, bro. Unacceptable in my opinion. And the goal that they scored, they completely carved us apart. I mean, we just couldn't create anything in this game. We were so poor. So poor going forward. It was so bad. They were better than us, man. We played better than Shakhtar. We played 4 halves against Shakhtar Donetsk this year. They were better in 3 of them. They were better in 3 halves. And we were only better in 1. The first half of the first game. Unacceptable. And this game was just terrible, man. You have no business losing to this team. Away from home, at home again. It does not matter. It's just the quality that we have is so much better, and they had no business beating us. And to me, this game is 100% going to go into bad. Just an unacceptable, disgusting performance from Barcelona on that day. Next up, we have the game against Alaves at home that finished 2-1, and this one to me is going to go into bad once again. This game was unacceptable. Again, we conceded in the first 20 seconds of the game. Samu scored in the first 20 seconds of this game. And then Lewandowski, one of his best games of the year, he saved us on that day. He scored that beautiful header from that pass from Koundé, a header that I still don't know to this day how he scored it. I mean, he gets so much power on that ball, and it was just such an awkward angle. I don't know how he scores that, and then he scored a penalty. But we were not good on this day whatsoever. In that second half, we were a little bit better, but in that first half, we were absolutely putrid. It was disgusting to watch. And yeah, this game was just not good in my opinion whatsoever. Like whenever a team scores in the first 20 seconds, I can't put this shit anywhere else. And the team was just not good. It was just literally Lewandowski for once saving us. Lewandowski put on his 2020 fucking shirt. I mean, he reverted back to 2020 Lewandowski and just became unplayable on that day. Scored that penalty, scored the beautiful header. But again, that was not a good team performance whatsoever from us. It was, again, the same old shit. Conceding early, lapse of judgment, not playing well early on in the game, fighting an uphill battle, and then needing some fucking last minute save. Like, we're needing a last minute comeback to win the game. Just a heart attack game. It just wasn't great. Like, from start to finish, it wasn't great. I'm judging these games from start to finish, and start to finish, this game was not good whatsoever. That is why I'm putting it in bad. Just unacceptable in my opinion. Once again, I don't know how many times I've said unacceptable in this video, but just know we're not finished. The second part of this video is gonna have a lot more unacceptables. I promise you. And then lastly, the match against Rayo Vallecano to me is gonna go into bad. This game, Barca needed an own goal in like the 82nd minute to actually save the points. Rayo Vallecano to me was the better team throughout, and again, Barca continued to show that lapse of judgment. Couldn't play well for 90 minutes. The totality of the game wasn't great in my opinion. And it was just such a boring game to watch. So for that reason, it's gonna go into bad. And that, guys, is the end of the first part of this video. The second part should be coming later on this week. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comment section. Let me know if you want to see the second part, because if you guys don't like it, then I will not make the second part. But I hope you guys do like it. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Am I being too critical? Am I being too harsh to Barcelona? I don't think I am. I think if you watch most of these games, you would know that I'm not being a dick here. Like, the Barca has been this bad this year, where the majority of our games have been in bad. And just wait till we get to the second part. There's gonna be way more games in bad as well. But yeah, man, thank you guys so much for watching again. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I love every single one of you, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.